Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English channel. Now yesterday, Ukraine conducted a drone attack on Russian air bases which destroyed several of the Russians' more important strategic bombers. But this wasn't the first drone attack to happen anywhere. It was used extensively in the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia. It was used extensively earlier by Ukraine and Russia since their war began in 2023, and recently it was used to much effect between the conflict that happened between India and Pakistan. So why is this Russian drone attack such a big deal, or why is it becoming such an important news? Let us try to find that one out in our today's discussion. But first, let me give you the context of our today's discussion. Now, yesterday on June the 1st, Ukraine launched a massive drone strike on 5 Russian air bases, which included one attack even on a Russian airbase located in Siberian region. And what is important for you to note here, that this airbase is located approximately 4,000 kilometers from the borders of Russia-Ukraine. And this attack, it destroyed at least 41 strategic bombers of the Russian Air Force, including the more important ones like Tu-95, Tu-22M3, as well as A-50 AWACS aircraft. So why is this attack so significant? First, because Ukraine has claimed it has destroyed $7 billion worth of Russian assets, and this has also set back in some terms in terms of the ability of Russian air forces. And it also included attack on this kind of a supersonic strategic bomber, that is T-22M3. So in this regard, let us understand few details about the attack first, then we'll understand why is this attack so significant, right? First of all, this operation, it was codenamed Operation Spider's Web. What was the code name of India's operation against Pakistani terrorist and air forces? Please let me know in the comments. And this Ukraine's operation known as Spider's Web, it was a mission that has been in planning for 18 months, and it has been expected that not just Ukraine was involved in the planning, but some help might have been provided by Ukraine's Western allies like US and UK. And this operation was executed by Ukraine's internal security agency known as SBU. And in this attack, Ukraine used what is known as a Trojan horse tactics. Trojan horse tactics is basically a tactics which you hide your ability, you supply some of the important assets under the garb of civilian assets inside the enemy territory, which enables you to attack those enemy territory. And here, Ukraine employed the use of first-person view drones, the drones which actually had the ability to transmit videos and pictures at the time when it was conducting an attack. And that is why, using the video feed from these drones, Ukraine has made these video feed public. And this was done by smuggling into Russia a mobile wooden cabins, and these mobile wooden cabins had drones hidden in them, and they were carried by trucks. In some cases, the drivers of the trucks, they were unknown with the kind of cargo that they were carrying. And the cabin roofs, their doors or their roofs were opened remotely from Ukraine, which launched drones with surgical precision into Russian air bases, destructing these important fighter aircrafts as well as strategic bombers of the Air Force of the Russia. So in this regard, let us understand why is this seen as a game changer in the war between Russia and Ukraine. First is the geography where the strikes were committed, because these strikes were committed very deep into the Russian territory, and this was the first time ever Ukraine has hit targets far inside the Russian territory or Siberian region, which is located about 4,000 kilometers away from the Russia-Ukraine border. To put things in perspective, you'll understand it easy when you understand the geography of the region. Now, on your extreme left is the Ukrainian border here, and the attacks have happened as far as this Belaya airbase, which is located in the Siberian region of Russia. And the distance between these two, that is the border from Ukraine and this Belaya airbase where this attack happened, it is more than 4,000 kilometers. And to put things in perspective, the distance between Kanyakumari, that is in the southern part of our country, to northernmost territory, that is Kashmir, it is approximately 3,475 kilometers. So understand, the attack that happened with Ukraine on Russia, it took over a distance which is greater than the distance between Kashmir and Kanyakumari in India. Similarly, as you can see, this attack happened north in the Olenia airbase located near the Arctic Sea region. So this also shows that how far the geographical expanse of this attack has been. And this is first reason why this attack is seen as a game changer, because when Ukraine is hitting targets so far in the Russian territory, it will put Russia into deep ease. Another factor that has created much of the discussion and debate is the use of drone during the daytime, as major of the drone operations earlier in many of the wars that has happened since the drone became much an important instrument in the war. These drone attacks have majorly happened under the garb of darkness during the time of night. But this is unusual because this actually is a departure from the known thought that drones are majorly used during the night time, and this attack was conducted during broad daylight. Similarly, it also shows that Ukraine is using low-cost means to attack high-value targets located deep inside Russia, because drones that were used by Ukraine, they cost in thousands of rupees, whereas the destruction done by these drones, they destroyed billions of dollars worth of targets, specifically the bombers used by Russia, which are rare and irreplaceable in nature. Similarly, the attack destroyed Tu-95 bombers, it destroyed Tu-22M3 bombers. All of these are strategic bombers used by Russia. Similarly, Ukraine used civilian mobile networks to transmit the images, transmit the video feeds from these drones, and this is also seen as a game changer, because once a country has the ability to hack into the civilian infrastructure, civilian mobile network, civilian telecommunication network, it can actually do anything. And more importantly, this has dealt a psychological blow to Russia, because it demonstrates Ukraine can reach so far in Russia, it can adapt as per the necessary situation to conduct attacks, and it is undertaking tactical innovations to demonstrate this attack. This is seen as a psychological blow on the Russian government, on the Russian armed forces, and that is why, because all these factors, it is leading to a game changer in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, right? So first, the attack happened much greater in distance, over a distance of 4,000 kilometers. Similarly, it destroyed many of the key prized assets of the Russian Air Forces, which included this T-95 strategic bombers. Now, the big question in your mind is, what are these strategic bombers, or how are they different from fighter jets like Rafale, like Su-30, which India uses, and Su-30 or derivatives of Sukhoi aircraft, even the Russia uses? So how these strategic bombers are different than fighter jets? Let us try to find out. Now, basically, strategic bombers are a type of military aircraft which are specifically designed to fly longer distances and deliver powerful weapons, especially against important enemy targets which are located far beyond the areas or theaters of war, right? And these targets, it often includes important military bases, important air bases, industrial centers, which you can attack the enemy's industrial infrastructure and cripple them, their ability to fund and navigate the war. Similarly, you can even conduct attacks on important critical infrastructure like bridges, like power plants and command centers, which again will dealt a severe blow to the enemy's ability to fight the war. Similarly, these aircraft bombers, they are also used to destroy strategic assets like missile silos or airfields, which we have seen were done quite significantly during the conflict between India and Pakistan, done similarly during the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Now, the big aspect is, what are the key features of these bombers that makes them so special? First is their ability to fly longer ranges, because these aircrafts can fly thousands of kilometers without the need to conduct air-to-air refueling, or without even the conduct to need any kind of refueling, making it possible for the enemy to strike deep into the adversarial territory. Also, these aircraft, these have the ability to carry much higher payloads, that is, they can carry large number of weapons, and even they can carry big nuclear weapons. For example, the biggest nuclear weapon ever made, Tsar Bomba, was tested on board the Tu-95 aircraft itself. So it highlights how such important aircrafts can be used extensively for a longer range of weapons and for a heavier weapons that can cripple the enemy's target. And also, these aircraft have the ability to high or fly at a higher altitude as compared to other aircrafts. And the modern versions of these aircraft, like the ones US uses, B-2 bomber, they have some kind of a stealth ability also. So when an aircraft has an ability to fly at much higher altitude and can fly in stealth mode, it has the ability to avoid detection and interception by enemy radars or enemy fighter aircrafts. But what you need to understand that these strategic bombers, they do not have the ability to undertake close combat with enemy fighter aircraft, because unlike fighter aircraft, these strategic bombers are not used in dogfights. Dogfights is basically when two aircraft, fighter aircraft, fight in the air, right? So the job of the strategic bombers is to destroy key targets from afar, not to engage with enemy aircraft directly. So basically what you'll see that whenever a strategic aircraft flows or flies, it is supported by the enemies or your own fighter jets, so that they are not attacked by enemy aircraft, right? So these are the important features of strategic bombers. The more important ones are that they can fly longer ranges, they can carry much heavier weapons as compared to fighter aircrafts, right? So these are the important features of the strategic bombers. Now, the one I gave you the example, B-2 bombers of US, this is this bomber, and as you can see from the image of this aircraft, this has a very unconventional design. First of all, this unconventional design allows it to have a very small radar signature, and also the material used over these aircraft, these material have the ability to absorb the microwaves sent by the radars, which basically means that these aircrafts, these strategic bombers, won't be detected by the enemy's radars or won't be detected by enemy's fighter jets, right? So in this regard, let us understand other important strategic bombers that are used by different countries. Now, currently only 3 countries in the world, that is US, Russia and China, has the services of strategic bombers. Tu-95, like the one Ukraine destroyed, is used by Russia, and it is a nuclear capable bomber with a long range strike capability. More importantly, it is the Tu-22M3 aircraft, which again is used by Russia, but this is a supersonic bomber which is used for deep penetration strike. The image I showed you in the first instance, after context, that was Tu-22M3 aircraft. It is a supersonic bomber which can travel at much faster speed as compared to the Tu-95 aircraft. For US, the older bombers that US used were B-52 Stratoforces. It is an iconic long-range bomber which has been employed by US since the time of Cold War. And the newer aircraft by US is B-2 Spirit. It is a stealth bomber designed to evade radar, like the one I showed you here. This is a B-2 Spirit aircraft, right? And the one that is used by China, it is called as H-6. It is basically a copy of a older Soviet design, and it is used by China. So these are the 3 countries that employ the use of strategic bombers to meet their objectives of bombing a longer range targets, right? Now, what are the global implications of this event? What it can lead to in future? Let us discuss that, right? Now, the first concern that it has raised is that it is seen by many experts as a Russia's example of its own Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor, we know, was a naval base of US during the time of World War II, and there an attack happened by Japan which crippled the US Navy's ability in the Pacific Ocean. Now, after Pearl Harbor incident, it forced US to use its nuclear weapons by bombing cities of Japan like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So many experts feel that this is an instance of Russia's own Pearl Harbor, and it might force Russia to use its nuclear weapons against Ukraine, which it has resisted until right now. Because this attack, first of all, is seen as a humiliating attack on the security infrastructure created by Russian government, by Russian armed forces under the leadership of Vladimir Putin. And when such strategic locations are bombed and strategic bombers are destroyed, it will no doubt create a trigger for furious response by the Russian military. And some even cite that Russian military might use nuclear bomb going forward on Ukraine. Now, similarly, it has highlighted that a new era of warfare has come to fore, which uses cheaper drones to destroy multi-billion-dollar air bases, multi-billion-dollar aircrafts. And we saw even during the conflict between India and Pakistan, both these countries used extensively, or they relied extensively on drones to destroy enemy targets. Indian armed forces or Indian Air Force used Harab drones to destroy an air defense system which was supplied to Pakistan by China, that is HQ-9 air defense system. And defense experts, they also warn that this tactic of employing drones to destroy strategic targets can also be replicated against US, against India, especially to hit softer targets like rail yards, like ports, like civilian infrastructure, which has a potential to escalate any conflict to a large scale war. So that is why this attack is seen to have a global implication. First, that it might lead to use of nuclear weapon. Second, that the use of drone is getting more and more prominent in the war. And the third, that this might be replicated on other countries like US and India by their own adversary to target softer targets or target civilian infrastructure, right? So this was all for today's discussion. Before ending our today's discussion, there was this question in 2025 prelims on C-17, on IL-76, on Dornier 228 aircraft. So I've changed that question to suit our today's discussion, and I'll request you all to please answer this question correctly in the comment section, and do let me know what is the answer of this question in the comment section. If you got it correctly, I will give your answer a thumbs up so you'll know you have answered it correctly. And if you want to download these notes, these will be available on my Telegram channel. This is called as ATS Live. So you can go to this Telegram channel or the Telegram app, click on the top right hand corner, that is the search bar, and enter the word ATS Live. So the ATS Live discussion group is the one where these notes will be available. Alternatively, you can also scan this QR code, subscribe to the channel if you still haven't, and download the notes. So this is all from my side for today. We'll see each other again tomorrow. Please have a very good night. Okay.